Welcome back, everybody. All right, so let's go ahead and let's close any other tab other than the JavaScript and the CSS. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up an HTML document. Now, remember, a computer reads a line of code just like someone reads a book. So you read a book line by line, and in a computer program, that's essentially what it does, is it reads it line by line. So for example, you read a line, it tells it to do something, the computer goes and does that. The next line tells the computer to do something else, and it goes and does that. So something that you can tell the computer to do could be, for example, telling the computer to print some text, display a picture. If you're making a game, you can say, move the character left or right, up and down, make the character, shoot a little cannonball, something like that. Those are the things that you do or tell the computer to do. Now, there are a ton of different kinds of coding language, just like there's a whole bunch of different kinds of languages. You can speak English, you can speak French, you can speak Spanish, you can speak German, Japanese. There's a ton of different languages. Well, computer languages are exactly the same thing. So since we're going to be working with HTML in this tutorial series, what we have to do is we have to set up the HTML document. So in order to do that, you need these two funky little brackets here. And these are just, if you want to just type in shift, and then they're called greater than and less than signs, and it's above the comma and the period key, okay? So we're going to go ahead and you have to make sure that these are used in HTML, because they're used quite a bit. Now, what we have to do is we have to tell this document, we have to tell the computer what kind of document this is, and in this case, the document type is going to be HTML. So a lot of times when we're coding and doing any kind of coding is we have to tell the computer in the language of computers. So for example, if you were to speak to a person in French and they didn't know English, you would, in order for them to understand you, you would have to speak to them in French. Well, we have to speak to the computer in HTML. So in order to do that, we need to type an exclamation point, and you need to type in doc type and then HTML, okay? Now the next thing we need to do is we need to type in, and we need to add in a couple of brackets here, okay? So we're going to go ahead and add in those brackets, and we're going to type in HTML, and then we're going to type in another two brackets, and we're going to go \HTML, just like that, okay? Now, what this means is that anything within these two brackets here, so anything that we do here, for example, displaying pictures, links, tables, lists, everything is going to be within HTML. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to give the document a body, okay? And so that's exactly what you want to do, and you want to do this again and type in /body like this. Now, you're probably wondering why we need to do this. Well, the reason is that when a computer reads something, it has a starting point and an end point. Just like when you have a sentence, for example, it starts off with a capital letter and it ends off with a period. And we all know that there is going to be some kind of punctuation, which is like a period, an exclamation point, a question mark. Anything like that is going to be at the end of the sentence. So it starts off with a capital because that's when it starts, and at the end there's going to be some kind of period or punctuation, okay? And the exact same thing happens within computers, all right? So in this case, if we just take a look at this body tag, and by the way, these are called tags, is that we start off with the opening tag, in this case it's the body tag, within those two brackets, and we have the closing tag, which is the /body. And that's pretty much all it is for HTML. This first tag here, the one that I'm highlighting, is exactly like the capital letter of a sentence. This here is like the period or punctuation of a sentence. It is the end, so we know it's the end here. Now, you've seen that I have gone and I have kind of spaced it out like this. And the reason is that technically this whole thing is within HTML, because the whole document has to be within the HTML format, and the body of the HTML document has to be within this. And we can add tags within tags. And you'll see this a lot, actually. You'll see that we'll start off with a tag. So, for example, we'll have, let's say, a paragraph tag, which we'll be learning about very shortly here. So we'll have a paragraph tag, and then in that paragraph tag, we'll tell the the text within that paragraph tag to be bold or something like that. All right, so you'll have tags within tags. So for the most part, this part of the tutorial series isn't really the most important. All I need you to know is that this is how you set up an HTML document. We have HTML tag, the body tag, and we also know that the starting tag is just the tag itself. So for example, body or HTML, or in the next tutorial, paragraph. And the closing tag is always going to be a slash. Now there's a few kinds of tags that don't have that, but don't worry about that right now. All I need you to do is type this out, and I'll see you in the next tutorial where we get to input some more stuff. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.